Brilliant Persuasion shows how to more powerfully influence others through the proactive use of language. That is the core idea behind the book. Persuasion is not about pressure, force, or clever tricks. It is about learning how words work, how people respond to them, and how careful choices in language can create better outcomes in business, in relationships, and in everyday life. Most people use language automatically. They speak quickly, respond instinctively, and often do not realize the effect their words are having. Brilliant Persuasion invites readers to slow down and think more deliberately about what they say, how they say it, and what results those words may produce. That shift alone can be powerful. A central theme in the book is the positive use of language. When people repeatedly use negative phrases about themselves, "I'd never be able to do that," or "I don't know how I could do that," they may be reinforcing self-limiting beliefs without even noticing it. The brain tends to accept repeated language as familiar truth. Over time, this can shape confidence, behavior, and expectations. Brilliant Persuasion helps readers recognize that the words they choose can either narrow what feels possible or open it up. Another simple but important example is the word "but." It is one of the most common words in conversation, yet it often changes the effect of what came before it. A sentence like, "You did a great job on that, but let's look at this area," can feel very different from, "You did a great job on that, and wouldn't it be useful to look at this area?" The first can feel like praise being taken back. The second keeps the positive feeling alive while still moving the conversation forward. That difference matters in business, in management, in parenting, and in social situations too. This is where Brilliant Persuasion becomes especially practical. The book is not written only for sales professionals, though they will certainly find it valuable. It is also useful for anyone who wants to communicate more clearly and more constructively. Parents, teachers, leaders, and team members all face moments where language can either build trust or create resistance. By choosing words more carefully, it becomes easier to keep conversations open, respectful, and productive. The book also places strong emphasis on planned, proactive persuasion. This means using language and questioning techniques deliberately, rather than reacting on autopilot. When someone raises an objection, the goal is not simply to push back. It is to redirect the conversation toward a more positive and useful direction. A well-chosen question can do that remarkably well. It can help someone think differently, consider a new possibility, or notice an advantage they had not seen before. Not all questions are equal. Some are too weak to lead anywhere. Others invite deeper thought and create momentum. Brilliant Persuasion shows how powerful questions can guide a discussion without sounding forceful or artificial. That is one reason the book has relevance across so many settings. Whether the context is a sales meeting, a classroom, a family conversation, or a leadership discussion, the right question can change the tone and direction of the exchange. The book also explains the structure behind the technique, drawn from a live seminar presentation, and shows how once the structure is understood, the vocabulary can be tailored to suit your own speaking style. That makes the approach practical rather than mechanical. Readers are not asked to copy a script word for word. Instead, they are shown how to understand the underlying framework and then adapt it naturally to their own way of speaking. Imagination is another important part of the process. Instead of telling someone what they should think, it is often more effective to invite them to imagine a result for themselves. For example, rather than asking whether a product might be helpful, you can invite the other person to picture the difference it could make. That allows them to begin their own mental journey and create their own connection to the idea. In Persuasion, that self-generated picture can be far more powerful than a direct statement. Brilliant Persuasion also includes practical real-world examples to show how these ideas work in action. One example comes from a training session involving a sales director at a well-known recruitment and executive search company. He and his team had helped draw several of the top people from one company to another, and he then faced the difficult task of persuading the managing director of the first company to retain him so he could help identify suitable replacements from elsewhere to fill the gaps created by the departures. It was a demanding situation, and no obvious approach seemed likely to work. But the solution offered in the session proved effective and helped the assignment move forward. That kind of example matters because it shows the ideas in the book are not just theory. They are practical tools that can be used in real conversations with real consequences. The techniques are simple, but simplicity is part of their strength. When language is used with care and purpose, it can help create trust, reduce resistance, and open the door to better outcomes. At its core, Brilliant Persuasion is a book about awareness. It asks readers to notice the words they use, the assumptions those words carry, and the effect they have on other people. It shows that persuasion becomes more powerful when it is thoughtful, genuine, and deliberate. In that sense, the book is not only about influence, it is about communication that improves the quality of conversations and the quality of results. Brilliant Persuasion is available on Amazon and other book platforms worldwide in a selection of languages. Just Google Brilliant Persuasion by Stephen C. Young. Thank you for listening.